Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's Tuesday, May 20th, just after 10 a.m. This is Training Wheels offered through an open door in which we just explore the daily lessons of A Course in Miracles. And today we are looking at lesson 33. There is another way of looking at the world. So for the first 50 lessons, I'm going to read each lesson before we get to lesson 33, because they are kind of interesting when we take a look at them together. So just take your seat and be present wherever you are. Just be relaxed and settle in for the next 15 minutes or so while I just go through the lesson and catch us up. Nothing I see means anything. I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me. I do not understand anything I see. These thoughts do not mean anything. I am never upset for the reasons I think. I'm upset because I see something that's not there. I see only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images I have made. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. And I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. And I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. I am determined to see things differently. What I see is a form of vengeance. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. I do not perceive my own best interests. I do not know what anything is for. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Above all else, I want to see. Above all else, I want to see things differently. God is in everything I see. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. I am not a victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. When I am conscious of it, I recognize that my perception can shift from being out there, quote unquote, to being in here, quote unquote. When I am inside looking out, the world is different. It's almost as though I'm in a bubble, safe and sound, while watching a play going on in front of me. I'm with the play, but I'm not in the play. There is another way of looking at the world. Today you will practice shifting your perception from being out there in the play to being inside and watching it. You will watch from a place of silence and peace. Today's practice aids in the cultivation of inner knowing. 2 practice periods of 5 minutes are asked. Take your seat in the morning and again in the evening. Place your awareness on the breath and just relax your body. And when you're ready, with open eyes, unhurriedly glance around the room and gently notice what you perceive as outside yourself. And then close your eyes and place the same awareness on how you feel inside. Be casual and don't hurry. Approach this exercise as you would any break in your day. The only difference is in your intention. Sit and look around your world without attaching to anything, and then close your eyes and survey your inner kingdom. Be aware of the outside and how you feel inside. This is preparation for future work. When you have spent 5 minutes in peaceful awareness, say to yourself, there is another way of looking at the world. Notice how it feels inside when you say the words. Just notice. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And as you go about your day, take as many moments as you can to look around and say in your mind, there is another way of looking at the world. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed. Play with this. See how it feels. If you experience any discomfort, any anger or irritation with what's in front of you at the moment, close your eyes and repeat the lesson. Just relax. Don't take yourself too seriously here. You're giving yourself permission to experience your world in another way. Have fun, be gentle with yourself, and enjoy this lesson. There is another way of looking at the world. What I want to do now is just offer some suggestions. It's based on Francis Lucille's discussion that we are going to have on Thursday. Francis tells us that every time we shift our perception, there is a gap. As you practice this lesson, there is another way of looking at the world. Try to notice when you shift your perceptions. when the way that you look at the world changes, and try to just notice that gap. It will be very, very small. Don't expect anything. Don't think you know what the gap will show you. Just notice. Because when we understand that we are present as consciousness between the gap in two perceptions, this begins the real knowing of what we are in truth. Francis uses as an example what happens in the moment when we suddenly reach an understanding of something. We ask ourselves a question, or we have an understanding of something that we didn't understand before. He says, in the moment of understanding, whatever is understood, that which appeared before as a question or a not knowing is no longer there. So the not knowing or the question is gone. But the formulated answer isn't there either. And yet we are very much there because we are very conscious that it is us who's having the experience. It's not somebody else who's having the experience of in between not knowing and knowing. So we're very much in the present at the moment of understanding. And at that moment of understanding, we don't have a memory of how we understood. We just know, right? I can't remember what was going on at the moment of understanding. I can remember the question, what was before, and I can remember the answer after. But the memory process can only record something that's phenomenal, that's an idea, right? The non-phenomenal can't be recorded in memory because it's nothingness. This understanding is seeing the world differently. When we understand this, we see the world differently, right? But at the same time, it's not nothingness because we're present as consciousness. It's just that we're present as consciousness without objects, without memories or thoughts or physical phenomena or bodily sensations. But it is a nothingness, quote unquote, which is always present and which is in fact in the background of all perceptions, right? So there is another way of looking at the world. And this understanding, Francis says, it's a magical thing. And it's magical because it opens us to the possibility that the presence of consciousness is there in the absence of objects. It opens us to that possibility. And that's why he uses the moment of understanding as an example. So just to take this a little bit further, when I look at the world differently, the perception of an object doesn't tell me consciousness, right? It's instantaneous. The perception of an object doesn't tell me, oh, I'm conscious. It's different, right? The understanding of consciousness is the perceiving of I am, of the true self. And these glimpses are liberating glimpses, right? And when I understand that being conscious of an object isn't showing me consciousness itself, then I have a way of knowing that consciousness is not dependent on anything else. Consciousness just is. And then whatever I believed about it, I understand that phenomenal experience, the experience of objects, cannot tell me about consciousness. It doesn't tell me anything about consciousness. It tells me that consciousness is perceiving objects, right? So perceptions appear through consciousness, but they aren't valid ways of knowing it. So if we want to take this lesson, there is another way of looking at the world more deeply. And we can, because we are master students and teachers at this level. All of us in this call, in this Zoom, we can understand this. We can notice the gaps between perceptions. We can notice the moment when we don't know something and then we do know something. And we can remember not knowing and we can remember the knowing. But the gap between not knowing and knowing, there's nothing in there. And yet we are present. Consciousness is the bridge between two perceptions. So play with that today. Just be open to it.